So the past couple weeks just got even crazier for Tesla, from Mark Rober's full self-driving showcase against LiDAR and the controversy it sparked, to people committing vandalism against Tesla owners now finally getting arrested, to Jeremy Clarkson claiming victory over decades-long beef, and a new wave of Cybertruck recalls. This Tesla situation is growing into quite the wild saga. So as if the plummeting stock situation wasn't already bad enough, Tesla just got hit with one of its biggest wave of recalls ever. Tesla is recalling over 46,000 Cybertrucks, basically almost all of them made so far, for a loose steel panel on each side of the windshield, having a potential risk of detachment, which of course is dangerous to other road occupants if it were to detach.
There is a huge issue going around right now where these pieces on the Cybertrucks are literally just completely falling off, and I've had a lot of people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
To any of my viewers in Europe or United Kingdom, you should count every single blessing that you don't have to deal with the driving death machine that is the Cybertruck. Whenever I see one of these on public roads, I'm moving all the way to the right lane. I'm not taking any chances being put 6 feet under because it had a steel panel detached and pierced my windshield. The sad part is, this isn't even like the first, second, or even third time the Cybertruck had a recall. From the rust it had day one, to the accelerator pedal getting stuck, to windshield wipers not working. Some of these aren't even minor issues. They can cause major safety concerns, and remember, this is on a supposed high-end car. There are so many more reliable and higher quality vehicles that you can buy for the price of a Cybertruck, and it seems that even Cybertruck owners are realizing this, since its price is plummeting so fast that many of them are dashing to sell them before they end up upside down on their car loan with a repo man knocking on their door. Can you believe people used to fanboy and defend all the copes surrounding the Cybertruck being a quality product a few months ago, even after we saw that its glass wasn't as durable as promised, or that its trunk could dismember fingers, or that its literal shape poses a pedestrian crash safety risk and thus is banned in many countries across the world? We also had people like Whistlindiesel showing that the Tesla couldn't really tow all that much relative to its weight, cost, and power. Seriously, you would just be better off just buying a used Ford truck for work than deal with this low polygon looking MF. And let's be completely honest here, who is actually buying the Cybertruck as a work truck? It's usually just a Silicon Valley tech bro cosplaying as a blue collar guy, as he adds a couple 2x4s from Home Depot into their truck bed once a year and claimed that their 140 grand purchase was totally justified and necessary. Also, to reiterate, I have no horse in Team Red versus Team Blue politically. I am just a car guy who likes cars that have soul and make rumble rumble vroom vroom, something that Teslas aren't exactly known for doing. My friend group is politically diverse, and funnily enough, even right-leaning car guys I see at car meets still hate Elon and still are laughing at his downfall. It's extremely common for car enthusiasts and Tesla owners to not see eye to eye. This has been a thing for well over a decade and has nothing to do with politics. I will continue to stand by my main criticisms of Tesla from a perspective of a car enthusiast, being that they're overhyped, they're overpriced, the quality isn't that great for said price, and market competition is growing. Now I will get into one L take I had from last video as we roll into the Mark Rober situation. So I'm not gonna act like some genius savant because I 100% fell for Mark Rober's video at first, and thankfully my super duper laziness of uploading a bit slower than I should made it where I didn't mention it in the previous video, so I actually had time to watch people who exposed or dived through the controversy, and admittedly I'm no self-driving expert, so I learned a lot researching from what other people have been showcasing on the internet.
We then ran the test using full self-driving version 13.2.8. Full self-driving visualizes the wall and does not crash.
And I'm not someone who originally knew the distinction between Tesla's or many other companies' self-driving modes, be it LiDAR, camera-driven, be it autopilot, or FSD. I'm not in the minority for this misunderstanding, as even Mark Rober himself stated that he more or less thought FSD and autopilot were interchangeable.
And even Googling it, seeing what they determine as autopilot, and my understanding is that the sensor is not different, whether it's full self-driving or autopilot. Knowing if that's a wall or not, that doesn't change. So I think I'd be happy to rerun the experiment in full self-driving. I'm pretty confident it wouldn't be a different result. So to me, it was a distinction without a difference.
Full self-driving visualizes the wall and does not crash.
The controversy sparked by Mark Rober has made me reflect on the accuracy of clips I showed in my previous video when I critiqued Tesla's self-driving, and whether or not those testers were actually using autopilot instead of FSD, or whether or not they even knew the differences between the two modes. Therefore, I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical going forward in the future when seeing those sensationalist clips or articles claiming FSD failed yet another thing. Of course, it doesn't change the fact that it still needs someone to ultimately supervise it, and the form of FSD that he's been promising since 2016 is still not actually consumer ready even 10 years later, being like a full-blown robotaxi that can 100% do everything, because again, it's still something you should be supervising at the end of the day. So I still stand by to some extent that people have reasonable criticisms for him not delivering in a timely manner regarding FSD, but actually critiquing FSD and its capabilities, I do think some of those videos are now overblown. I'm not the biggest fan of supporting false narratives, but you know what is not a false narrative? The very real punishments that Tesla vandals are receiving, be it bubblegum, key marks, or even arson. Many of these vandals are being arrested across the world for losing the plot. Peaceful protests against dealerships and against the company Tesla is absolutely valid, and you absolutely should be heard and express your freedom of speech. It is a right you have the authority to exercise. However, going after random individuals who are just living their day, that's just smooth-brained behavior. What's even funnier is that it's mostly friendly fire, since most current Tesla owners are people who tend to politically align with those who are now upset at Elon Musk. Keep in mind, these are just individuals who likely bought the car just as an A to B device, who were just trying to clock in and get to work. They had no idea about the type of person Elon would become. While I'm still not a fan of Elon as a person, and I absolutely hate the cult-like worship that his fanboys and investors seem to have, I don't think that this dislike, much less hatred for him, should extend to employees and especially not customers of his product. It's kind of like separating the art from the artist. That's like the closest analogy I can think of, and in this case, separating the consumers of the products from the creator of the products, alright? For the same reason I don't hold the average German or buyer of a Volkswagen in contempt over VW's very dark history, I also won't hold the average Tesla owner in contempt of Elon's stupidity. I'm not gonna fence straddle it. I want people to understand that nuance can exist. You absolutely can dislike the person behind the car company, but that doesn't mean I don't like Tesla owners. Apologies for my defensiveness, as I know 95% of you guys have functioning frontal lobes capable of processing nuance, but that 5% did get to me last video, I will admit. Anyways, what I really find crazy about these arrests are how most of them completely seem to forget that we live in 2025 where cameras are basically everywhere. Most Teslas actually have built-in security cameras, and this is a pretty common feature on a lot of modern cars. For example, my C7 Z06 also had a built-in dash cam as well. So a lot of these arrests actually happen within a few hours, as the owners would just submit the footage from their dash cam to the local police station, and most of these suspects didn't even attempt to conceal their identity because, I don't know, I guess they somehow think that they could just get away with it and never ever have to face the repercussions and consequences of their actions by damaging someone else's personal belongings. As for setting them on fire, this is just needlessly destructive, as EVs when set on fire are some of the hardest things to put out. If you really love the environment, setting an EV on fire is not something you should ever think about doing. Also, it's a horrendous use of public resources, since hardworking firefighters and fire departments, which are already pretty stringent in this day and age, have to really spend lots of time and lots of resources to put out an EV fire. I definitely do not take back the disclaimer I made last video. People should have just stuck to peaceful protests. Look, I'm not your mom, but at the end of the day, there are laws and there are criminal actions, and society has consequences. This isn't Twitter.
I am walking on water now.
Finally, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is a little bit of beef, a decades-long wound between Jeremy Clarkson and Elon Musk, and it was temporarily reopened by mainstream media as Jeremy would brag about his victory over Elon Musk in the foolish lawsuit that Elon Musk gave against Top Gear all the way back in 2008 regarding the original Tesla Roadster. To Musk's credit, he did rescind the lawsuit in 2013, so he gave up on pursuing it any further, stating that Jeremy Clarkson probably wasn't going to like his car regardless of what he possibly could have done. I'll just show a clip of what I mean.
Gear or anything. He can be very funny and irreverent, but he does have a strong bias against electric cars, and he particularly seems to hate American. Like his two pet peeves are American cars and electric cars, and we're an American electric car, so we're in the worst possible situation for someone like Clarkson.
Now, despite saying that he likes Top Gear and BBC, this kind of shows that he didn't really actually watch the show that much, because saying that Jeremy Clarkson doesn't like American cars is completely ignoring the fact that he has owned a 2005 Ford GT, an American car. He also delights in driving basically every single Mustang that's been on the show, which are American cars. And who could forget, he really loves the Viper for all of its psychotic glory. And to be fair, that's like that one weird American car that's universally loved by everyone. Even super diehard JDM fanboys still love the Viper. Now, of course, yes, he doesn't love all American cars. He's been pretty harsh on the Corvette, but as a Corvette owner myself, I understand that he's a person who's allowed to have his own opinions, but for the most part, he's actually been pretty soft on American automobiles. Now, of course, that wasn't the only thing that upset Musk. The actual thing that actually upset him is that there's some rumors as to whether or not Top Gear intentionally sabotaged the Tesla that was featured in that episode. And this time, I'm not gonna walk into the landmine of a situation that this could potentially be. I was not nearly educated enough to speak on FSD last video, and even someone as smart as Mark Rober still kind of walked into that landmine regarding that topic, so I'm not even gonna pretend like I have any insight on whether or not the Tesla Roadster was actually sabotaged. I don't have any insider information regarding Top Gear in their studio, and I also don't work for Tesla, so I have no idea how the car should have functioned. I understand how this could be frustrating for both parties. Not gonna open up that can of worms. You guys are all adults who can come to your own conclusions based on the information given. What I will say though is that the original Tesla Roadster was actually one of the prettiest Teslas ever made, and it actually was a decent performing car, and of course was actually ahead of its time. I very much still look forward to the day that Tesla gets around to making another Tesla Roadster that they've been promising for 6 years now. We're all just kind of twiddling our thumbs because Remots, BYD, and NIO are dominating the supercar, hypercar, EV market. All we have for the Tesla Roadster, meanwhile, is just a few tweets here and there reminding us of its promised capability, again, 6 years ago, and it has yet to make a production model that's actually sold to customers, whereas the above cars I just mentioned are actually produced, bought by customers, driven around, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go too much more into detail about that. I talked a lot about the Roadster and BYD and all the competition in last video, so if you want to check out the previous video, I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't already. But for my sanity's sake, I pray that I will never have to make another Tesla video. Anyways, to all of those who appreciated these Tesla updates from the perspective of a car enthusiast, make sure to like this video if you liked it and share it to your Tesla coworkers, since if I'm gonna deal with them in the comment sections anyways, I may as well get the CPM out of it. And of course, subscribe for more automotive content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bladed Angel out.